I cared for my MILF for 3 months after her accident, then she demanded a paternity test for my newborn, calling my baby trash. Hey everyone. Before we kick off today's video, I've got a favor to ask. We've noticed our channel isn't getting as much love lately, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can help us out. It's quick, free, and it means we can keep bringing you awesome content. Your support really means a lot, so let's work together to keep this channel growing. Thanks a bunch. Now, let's dive into the video. Hey everyone, I really need to vent because I can't keep it in anymore. I end up crying every time I think about what went down. I just had my first baby 3 days ago, and my mother-in-law pulled some crazy stuff that's got my head spinning. My emotions are all over the place, and I can't figure out if I'm blowing this out of proportion. My husband says I'm not, but he's biased since it's his mom in the middle of all this. Here's a bit of backstory. My husband and I have been together for 4.5 years and married for 2. We met at a backyard barbecue through friends, and I wasn't even looking for anything serious since I'd just gotten out of a rough 3-year relationship. But my husband was super kind and patient, so we clicked right away. We were happy from the beginning, but his mom, Jenny, has been cold to me from the start. About 6 months into dating, Jenny had a bad accident. She fell down the stairs, breaking her hip, wrist, and getting concussed. She needed care for 3 months to recover. My husband couldn't take time off because he was new at his job, and his brothers were out of state with demanding jobs, one in Colorado and one in Florida. His sister was busy with her 4 kids, and the youngest sister was still in high school and seemed scared of their mom. I was working remotely with a flexible schedule, so I offered to help out. For 3 months, I was like Jenny's personal assistant, taking her to appointments, helping her shower, cooking, cleaning, picking up prescriptions, handling her bills, you name it. I did it all because I loved my boyfriend and wanted to bond with his mom. But Jenny never said, "Thank you." Not once. She acted like I was her servant, criticizing everything I did, from the food I made to how clean her house was. When she recovered, she went back to treating me poorly. At my husband's birthday dinner, she didn't even acknowledge I was the one who took care of her. She thanked her family instead, saying they were supportive. I tried to let it slide for my husband's sake, but it always stung. Fast forward to now, I had a tough 22-hour labor that resulted in an emergency C-section because the baby's heart rate dropped. The recovery is hard, but our baby boy is perfect. He's got my husband's eyes and my nose, and we were in this blissful little bubble until Jenny showed up at the hospital today. My father-in-law couldn't make it due to some work stuff, which Jenny was vague about. When she came in, she barely acknowledged me in my hospital bed, didn't ask how I was doing or anything. She was dressed to the nines, like she was going to church, which seemed strange for a hospital visit. She demanded to see the baby immediately. My husband brought him over, and Jenny just stared with this odd look on her face. No cooing, no smiles, she looked almost disappointed. Then, out of nowhere, she said we should get a paternity test. 3 days after giving birth, with me still recovering and barely able to move. She told my husband that my ex, from before I even met him, was posting online that we'd had an affair and he might be the baby's dad. Total nonsense. I haven't talked to my ex in 5 years. He's just trying to stir up drama after seeing on Facebook that I had a baby. A mutual friend must have told him, and he decided to make up stuff for attention. I didn't even know about it until Jenny brought it up. When my husband tried to hand her the baby, she backed off and said, "Why would I hold some other man's kid? You're so stupid, you can't even see you're raising someone else's trash." I was in complete shock. My husband was furious, his face turning red. He told his mom she was being. Wow, what a chaotic scene. So, my husband's mom, Jenny, went off on this wild rant demanding a paternity test for our baby. Out of nowhere, my husband hit her with a bombshell question. How would she feel if someone asked for such a test for her kids, especially his youngest sister? Jenny lost all color in her face and got super defensive, claiming she was the perfect wife with a stellar rep. She's always been this self-righteous perfect Christian type who loves to judge others. My husband just laughed it off and dropped another bomb. Everyone knew about her fling with his dad's business partner back in the day. Jenny went full volume, yelling so loudly that a nurse rushed in. She screamed at my husband, calling him ungrateful and basically disowned him right there. To keep the peace for our baby, my husband took the argument out into the hallway. Though I couldn't catch all their words, it was intense. Meanwhile, my Phil called, and my husband filled him in. The kicker? Phil wasn't even surprised. Apparently, my husband remembered overhearing a massive argument in the garage when he was 11, where the business partner accused Jenny of taking his child away during her pregnancy with her youngest daughter. This sparked a family storm, leading to demanded paternity tests for all the kids, but my husband never learned the outcome until now. All this background drama was news to me until Jenny began accusing me of cheating, which brought my husband's memories flooding back. Jenny stormed out of the hospital but kept sending us vicious texts, calling me a homewrecker and saying I'd never belong to their family. Then, the day after we got home from the hospital, she showed up at our door, despite living 30 minutes away, just to confront us. Since I was exhausted, recovering from a C-section, and breastfeeding, we didn't let her in. She went ballistic, screaming and banging on the door, belittling me for having a baby. I finally snapped. I yelled through the door, telling her I regretted every moment I spent helping her post-accident and that she wasn't welcome until she apologized. I also told her we had security cameras and would call the cops if she didn't leave. She huffed off, but not before trashing our porch display. Later, my husband told me he was hurt by my comment about regretting helping his mom. He felt guilty for not being able to help more because of his demanding job. I felt terrible and apologized, explaining that I didn't regret helping our family but was fed up with Jenny's disrespect. For those wondering about my husband's part during Jenny's recovery, he had crazy work hours but took over caring for her as soon as he got off work and spent weekends helping out too. He did his best given the circumstances. So, let me break it down for you. Helping out with the family has been a bit of a solo gig for me. My husband's siblings? Yeah, not much help. The two oldest live far away and show up maybe twice every 3 months if we're lucky. His sister is always caught up with her own family drama, and the youngest is in high school, and frankly, she's terrified of her mom. I didn't mean to make it sound like my husband just tossed his mom on my lap. He already feels bad enough without everyone jumping on him. Some folks think he should have stood up to his mom earlier and not let her treat me badly for so long. They're not wrong, and we've talked about it a ton. He grew up never questioning his mom and keeping the peace at all costs. Over the years, he's seen how my family treats each other with respect, and he's finally noticing how toxic his mom can be. He's working on setting boundaries, but it's a slow journey. I did apologize to him for snapping. He gets that I was mad at his mom, not him. We're really trying to focus on our new little family and keep away from the drama, but it's tough when my phone keeps buzzing with his family demanding explanations. Oh, and about Jenny, she's been quiet for a couple of days. My father-in-law called to check on us and the baby, super sorry about how Jenny's been acting. He sounded more exhausted and sad than mad, which caught me off guard. He suggested maybe having a family meeting to hash things out once everything settles, but I'm still healing from surgery and barely catching any sleep with a new baby, so a showdown with Jenny is pretty much the last thing I need. My husband's youngest sister is panicking about this whole paternity thing and wants to know exactly what my husband heard when he was a kid. We're torn about how much to share because if it turns out her dad isn't her biological father, it could wreak havoc on her life. My husband feels bad because he just wanted to stand up for us and didn't mean to unearth this old family secret. I'll keep you posted as things unfold. Right now, I'm trying to heal and figure out this whole breastfeeding thing, which, by the way, is way harder than anyone warned me about. Seriously, my nipples feel like they've been through a cheese grater, but when our little guy looks up at me while feeding, it's all worth it. Update number 2. It's been a week since I last updated you all. The baby's doing well, but I got hit with mastitis and had to grab some antibiotics, which is a nightmare on top of recovering from a C-section. My mom came to help, and she's been a lifesaver. When Jenny found out, she called my mom interfering, which is rich considering she's been the one screaming at our door. Loads of you asked about Jenny's affair and how she kept it secret. My husband was about 11 when he overheard Jenny and her business partner having a heated argument. Apparently, Jenny was crying, telling the guy to keep his voice down and something about a vasectomy that didn't happen as planned. My husband was freaked and hid until the guy left. That night, he told his dad because he was worried about his mom getting yelled at. The business partner passed away a few years ago, so we can't get his take on this now. Jenny always said my husband got it wrong and that nothing happened, but the timing fits when she was pregnant with her youngest. After that, my father-in-law demanded paternity tests for all the kids. My husband doesn't know the results because it was never mentioned again. Jenny and my father-in-law stayed together, but their marriage was never really the same. He worked longer hours and they barely talked, and while they said the separate bedrooms were because of snoring, everyone knew the real reason. Now, all my husband's siblings are ghosting us. They don't want to dive into the family drama. My husband tried to explain what happened at the hospital, but they're acting like we've stirred the pot. One of his brothers sent a snarky text blaming us for their mom's meltdown and their dad threatening divorce again. His sister finally called, only to rip into my husband for dredging up old history and messing up her kids' relationship with their grandma. She's mad because her son's got a school play next week and now Jenny might not go because she's too upset. My husband tried to tell her that it all kicked off when Jenny accused me of cheating, but she wasn't having any of it. Meanwhile, Jenny is still. So, we're in a bit of a family feud right now. My sister-in-law Jenny is convinced I'm the one who twisted my husband's arm into spilling the beans about an old affair just to get back at her. She's going around telling everyone I orchestrated this whole drama. It's like she's trying to turn the rest of the family against me, probably because she feels she'll never live up to whatever expectations she's set in her head. My brother-in-law, Phil, is in a tough spot. He doesn't know whether to stand by his wife or support us. He keeps suggesting we just let bygones be bygones for the sake of the family. Easy for him to say, right? He's not the one being labeled as a cheater and having his baby's paternity put under the microscope. Interestingly, he did confide in my husband that he's always been a bit wary of Jenny ever since something sketchy happened years ago, but he's stuck it out because of the kids and his beliefs about marriage being a lifelong commitment. For now, we're steering clear of the drama. My husband's feeling pretty crappy about bringing this whole family secret to light. But I keep telling him Jenny set this whole thing off by questioning our baby's paternity, all because of some dumb post from my ex. If she hadn't poked her nose where it didn't belong, none of this would have blown up. He shouldn't feel bad for standing by me and our kid. On the brighter side, my mom has been an absolute rock through all this. She's staying with us to lend a hand, and she's been great about keeping her thoughts on Jenny to herself when my husband's around. But when he's not, she calls out Jenny's behavior and gives me props for standing my ground. It's really helped having her support, especially now. So, update time. It's been 9 days since the whole hospital blowout. My husband finally reached his breaking point with all the he said she said and sent a detailed message to his entire family, clearing the air about what he overheard as a kid. He was tired of being labeled a liar and wanted everyone, especially his youngest sister, to know the truth. His youngest sister was a sobbing mess when she found out. She's always felt a bit like the odd one out, the only sibling with green eyes and curly hair. She's stressed about what this means for her, especially since her parents are footing the bill for her apartment. She's in her final year of college and doesn't want to shake things up too much, but we told her she's welcome to crash with us if she needs to escape the chaos. Reactions from the other siblings have been all over the place. His oldest brother pretty much called him a family wrecker, while his sister just shot off a text saying, "Thanks for ruining everything as usual." Only his middle brother showed a bit of understanding, admitting he always had a hunch something was off between their parents, especially after a few odd incidents back when he was in high school. Right now, Jenny's getting the cold shoulder, which is driving her nuts. She's been firing off emails to everyone, saying I'm the evil genius behind all this drama. She even hit up my mom on Facebook, telling her to get a grip on her daughter. My mom just blocked her and shared the rant with me. It was filled with typos and didn't make much sense, almost as if she wasn't in the right state of mind. As for Phil and Jenny, they've been on the brink of divorce a bunch of times, but Jenny always threatens to spill some imaginary beans, which Phil thinks are just her trying to keep him tied down. He seems pretty worn out, like he's hit his limit. Thankfully, Jenny hasn't reached out directly in a few days, which is a relief. Meanwhile, our baby boy is thriving, blissfully unaware of the chaos around him. We're doing our best not to let the family mess overshadow these precious first weeks with him, though it's tough when the phone's constantly buzzing with messages from unhappy relatives. My mom had to head back home, which was tough. I definitely cried when she left. But my husband's been a superstar. He's taking 2 weeks of paternity leave and handling all the daily stuff so I can focus on our little one and recovery. I just wish his family drama wasn't looming over what should be such a happy time. And yet another update, it's been almost 3 weeks since this all kicked off. After a lot of thinking, my husband's youngest sister decided to take a paternity test. She said living with uncertainty was worse than any truth. The other siblings didn't feel like they needed to get tested, but the test was crucial for her because she was born during the suspected affair. The results came back quicker than we thought, and, well, Phil isn't her biological father. So here's the scoop. She was totally crushed when she found out about her biological dad, even though she kind of saw it coming. Instead of crashing with us, she chose to hang out in her own place to sort through her feelings. My husband's feeling terrible for spilling the beans about this family bombshell, but I keep reminding him it all started because Jenny accused me of cheating and wanted a paternity test for our kid. He was just standing up for me and the little one. It's been tough seeing him so down. A couple of times I found him just sitting, staring off into space. When I ask, he just says he feels like he broke the family apart. I tell him it was his mom's lies and manipulation that did the real damage ages ago. Jenny's really lost it, sending nasty messages to everyone, especially her youngest daughter. Her go-to line is, "You've betrayed me, just like everyone else." Jenny even caused a scene at her daughter's work, almost getting the cops called on her for shouting about her ungrateful kids. The poor daughter was so embarrassed, she almost lost her job and is now crashing with a friend to avoid any surprise visits from Jenny. We've kept Jenny blocked on everything. She tried to show up at our place, but backed off when we threatened to call the police. On the bright side, we're focusing on our baby, who's thriving with his first pediatrician visit going great. I'm healing up, though still pretty tired, and my husband's been amazing with night duties, so I can rest. His oldest brother finally checked in, which was a shocker. Turns out he moved away to dodge Jenny's toxic vibes and even suspected the whole paternity thing ages ago. He apologized for his initial outburst, which really meant a lot to my husband. Then, just a week after the paternity bomb dropped, my father-in-law decided to leave Jenny. He's staying with a friend for now and has filed for divorce. He said he'd wasted 40 years with someone who didn't truly love him and doesn't want to spend the rest of his life like that. Jenny, of course, blames us for the whole mess and sent a nasty email to my husband's work email, since she's blocked everywhere else, saying we ruined her marriage and that I've been driving a wedge in the family from the start. She even made wild claims about me cheating and suggested my husband get tested for STDs, which is all her projection. My husband shared the email with his siblings so they can see the kind of person their moms become. His sister finally called to apologize for siding with Jenny, saying she's gotten similar crazy emails and can't believe she ever defended her. Meanwhile, my father-in-law is visiting often, spending time being the best grandpa. He regrets not standing up to Jenny sooner but is making the best of it now. My husband's youngest sister is working through it all and keeping close to her dad. She's made it clear that DNA doesn't define a father to her, which is sweet. They've been spending a lot of time together, helping each other heal. She even asked if he had known the truth all along, and when he said he did but didn't want to treat her differently, it really meant a lot to her. So, it's like everyone is stuck in this awkward spot. They're over Jenny's endless griping about us, but also ticked off that we stirred up all this mess. They check in now and then, but mostly try to avoid the whole drama fest. Just yesterday, my husband's middle brother rang up, talking about maybe getting a paternity test too, just for some peace of mind. He says he's not really bothered by what it might say, he just wants the real scoop. His wife is expecting their first kid, so all this family chaos probably has him thinking about his role as a dad. My husband started back at work this week, and, man, it's been tough. Thankfully, my best buddy pops by for a few hours a day to lend a hand. Unlike Jenny, I actually show my gratitude and thank her a ton. So, update time. It's been 3 months since everything went haywire. The baby is growing super fast and has started smiling, and seriously, it melts my heart every time. He resembles my husband more with each passing day, which is awesome but also bittersweet, given everything that's happened with his family. The divorce between my husband's brother Phil and Jenny is chugging along, and Jenny is fuming about the financial settlement. She was a stay-at-home mom for most of their marriage, and now her alimony is getting cut because of the whole cheating debacle. Phil is letting her keep the house, but that's it. Right now, she's crashing at her brother's and he's helping her with all the legal stuff. She keeps trying to fight the settlement, claiming she deserves half of everything because she gave Phil the best years of her life, never mind the affair. Jenny's been badmouthing Phil to their kids nonstop, calling them up at all hours with lines like, "Your father's tossing me aside like trash after everything I've done for him. I made one mistake, and he's punishing me, while he wasn't exactly a saint himself." But when they press for details, she's all vague, saying stuff like, "There are things you don't know about your father," but never actually spills the beans. My husband reckons she's just bluffing and has nothing on Phil, it's just another ploy to win the kids over. Eventually, the kids had enough and told her to quit the trash talk. This made Jenny lose it. She was like, "So you're all siding with him now, after everything I did for you? I gave birth to you, changed your diapers, cooked your meals. And this is how you repay me?" Since then, she's not spoken to them for 3 weeks. Her youngest daughter tried to have a calm chat with Jenny, hoping to clear the air or at least get some clarity about her biological dad. Instead, Jenny slapped her and said she was dead to her. Her daughter left in tears and hasn't reached out to Jenny since. She's in therapy now, trying to process all this emotional turmoil. Going through some old photos, she noticed the business partner had the same curly hair and green eyes as hers. Apparently, it was obvious all along, but everyone just ignored it. My husband's dad, Phil, found a little apartment near his youngest daughter, and they've gotten closer through all this. They both agree that being a dad is about more than just DNA. She's helping him fix up his new pad, and they have dinner together a couple of times a week. He seems happier than I've ever seen him, despite the divorce saga. He told my husband that he finally feels like he can breathe after decades of tiptoeing around Jenny. We pretty much just talk to Phil and the youngest sister now, and hear from the other siblings occasionally, but usually only when there's some new drama to dish about. The middle brother did go through with the paternity test, and it confirmed that Phil is his biological dad. He seemed relieved but also said it really didn't matter to him either way. To be honest, my husband never really got along with his older siblings, even before all this went down. They're quite a bit older and were already out and about during most of his childhood. Jenny has totally isolated herself from all the kids and is leaning entirely on her brother for support. Her church buddies are mostly on her side, seeing her as the victim in all this mess, but they only know the mixed-up version of events she's spun for them. The irony of her playing victim after I spent 3 months looking after her ungrateful self isn't lost on me. She acts like her kids owe her everything, while she owes them zilch. Not once did she consider that her actions might have consequences, or that treating people poorly might make them not want to be around her. I don't regret what I said to Jenny, but I do regret that it led to so much family upheaval. Then again, maybe this was all going to blow up eventually. Sometimes I think we just happened to be the match that lit a fuse that was already there. In some ways, maybe it's better that the truth is out now, after all those years of secrets and lies. Thanks for following along, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more real-life stories.